Hey everyone, Jared here with Heat Press Nation, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Forever FlexSoft self-weeding heat transfer material. One of my favorite features about this product is that it is totally weedless, meaning that you don't have to run this through your cutter, you don't have to hand trim it with a pair of scissors. Now, it's a two-step process, so it's a little bit more involved than maybe just cutting and weeding, but the time that you save in the long run is absolutely worth it, especially when you're doing a really intricate design like what we're about to show you today. So the first thing we're gonna do is preheat our platen for about 60 seconds. Now you notice I didn't have a ton of pressure on here, which is perfectly fine. Forever FlexSoft does not require a heavy pressure. In fact, you should be at about a medium to medium light. We're gonna let this preheat for about 60 seconds. Okay, so now that the lower platen is nice and hot, we're gonna go ahead and pull it out, and it's ready for our A-B transfer. So what does that mean? Well, first things first, I'm gonna lay out a folded piece of parchment paper here. So this is our FlexSoft. This is the A sheet, also known as the A foil. We've printed it onto the frosty side, and this is going to go down here. Now, since we've just printed it, there's only gonna be black toner on there from our printer. What we need to do in order to make it weedless is get the adhesive from our B sheet onto our A sheet. And the way we do that is we press them together. So I'm just gonna lay this down here. There we go. I'm gonna cover it over with the other side of this parchment paper. You can use two separate sheets if you want to. I find it easier to just fold it to a nice little envelope like this. I'm gonna push this back in, and now we're gonna lower this, and we're gonna press these together for the full 120 seconds. Okay, and you'll notice that even though I have an auto open, I did help it open a little bit. You don't want it to pull up the paper. So what we're gonna do here is, this is very hot, so I have just some stuff that I had on hand, which is some heat resistant foam and a microfiber cloth. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna rub the transfer for about 3 to 5 seconds, just to make sure everything is finished properly. So we're gonna open it up. Now the key is you don't want to lift the paper up. You want it to keep contact with the hot surface of the rubber pad, the silicone pad. So now here's the tricky part, is getting it to peel. So I guess we can lift up one corner there. It's very hot. And just in a smooth motion, I'm just gonna peel it off right there. That's perfect. So now you should see a perfect image of your design here on the B sheet. And so what we can see is that all the adhesive from the toner, wherever we printed off, all the adhesive has come off the B sheet, and it is now on our A sheet. Final step you're going to want to do is, we tend to get some adhesive sticking to the corners, and you don't want that to press. So for our final step, we're just going to trim off the edges of our A sheet. And it does not have to be perfect. We're basically just getting rid of any excess adhesive residue that tends to also transfer on the edge here. Okay, so there we go. This is now ready to go onto one of our shirts. Okay, so now in our next step, we have our garment, which is this really cool charcoal gray t-shirt. I'm just gonna kind of center it here on my lower platen. And what we're gonna do really quick is we're just gonna preheat the t-shirt. So I'm gonna slide it in. Now I'm not gonna give it a full press. I'm actually just gonna kind of hold it in place. You don't need to apply full pressure for this. Just kind of heat it up for about 4 to 5 seconds, just long enough to let the moisture get out of the shirt, and also gives a nice, smooth, flat surface to work with. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get my transfer. This is the transfer that we trimmed. Now this nice blue foil, that's what's gonna come out and be left here on the shirt. So I'm gonna place it here like so. Now I'm using the eyeball method to center it. So don't discredit me too much here. And so you're just gonna lay this down We're going to cover it with a piece of parchment paper, and now we're going to press it at the exact same temperature, but for 30 seconds. So I've already adjusted the timer on my heat press. We're just going to close this down and let that press for 30 seconds. Okay, so our time is now up. Let's go ahead and slide this out here. We're going to remove our piece of parchment paper, and one thing that's key to a successful transfer is that you peel this cold. So we're very carefully just going to pick it up here, and we're going to move it to the side, and we're going to let it cool down here on our desk. Okay, so we're just going to roll it away in one smooth motion. You don't want to pick it up and pull, you just kind of want to get it off. So let's go ahead and So there you have it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this back onto the heat press, repress it for 30 seconds with some parchment paper. That's going to increase the washability and make this a nice, beautiful, long-lasting transfer. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put our shirt back on the heat press, and we're going to finish it. So now if you would like it to keep its glossy look, you could finish it with a glossy finishing paper. I really prefer the way it looks when you finish it with some parchment paper. Or the matte finish. So we're going to slide that back in, and we're going to repress it just like this for 30 more seconds. So once again, we're going to help that open. We're going to slide it out, parchment paper out of the way, and now we have a beautiful finished product here. If you have questions about any of the processes or materials we used in this video, please feel free to give us a call at 800-215-0894. You can also reach us on our website at www.heatpressnation.com. Thank you.